You've been listening to Dinner at the Round Table podcast. Follow them at Dinner at the Round Table.
Prepare to be astonished.
Somebody call my mama. Live from New York, you already know what it is, man. And live from Florida, we got James, our special guest, real estate investing coach in the house. You already know Nelly now in the house, La Duena. Shout out to the Dinner at the Round Table family. We in the building, man. Welcome to our show, Miss Gaines. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
The whole
Hey, Christine.
Hi.
Hi, Nelly. Go and give me that earring so I can feed Africa.
Guys, y'all don't even understand. Like, I love this woman, Miss Gaines. She is my real estate mentor. She helped me build my real estate business from the floor, from the bottom up. Taught me everything, how to be La Dueña. You know what I'm saying? How to be La Dueña in the real estate business. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so excited to have you on the show, Miss Gaines. We've been talking about this for a while. So
We have.
yeah,
And I'm so excited to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
yes.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
get it.
So you're the wholesale diva, man. Let's talk about who Miss Gaines is as a person, and then we're going to talk about who she is as a wholesale diva.
All right. I'm glad you separated those two, Nelly. That's
There you
great.
go.
I love that. So as the wholesale diva, that brand, I am a motivational speaker, I'm an author, and I'm also a real estate investing coach. And as of late, of the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of women have been contacting me to help them launch their businesses. Now, I don't do all that techie stuff with LLCs and all that. I send you to someone for that. But as far as having ideas, a lot of women want to start businesses, but they have no idea what business to start. So that's another component to my company. Now, on the other side, I'm a mommy. I'm a single mom of 4 children. My children are 45, 42,
Nice.
31, and 30.
Awesome. That's great.
And they're all involved in business.
There you go, man. So that, they followed your lead because, you're a very strong, independent lady. You know what I'm saying? You got your thing going on. And
Now, it's so funny because none of them are interested in real estate. Oh my God.
They might be interested in another.
They're interested in music and entertainment and things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So you go the wholesale diva. Let's go in the house. And you're coming from us live from where? From Chicago, right? Is it Chicago?
Originally from Chicago, from the projects of Chicago. I came from the bottom and made it to the top.
Wow.
Hey.
How do if we could go back in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
To Miss Jane Gaines when she was 14 living in Chicago, what would you tell her? Like, what would be your advice?
I know people probably don't want to hear things like what I'm going to say, but everything I went through growing up as a young girl, from the incarceration, from the gang banging to the drugs, all the things that I experienced as a young girl growing up, even being molested by a family member, those things made me who I am today. So I think that in retrospect, a lot of people say, well, I wouldn't go through that again. I don't know. Maybe I would go through it again, because if I hadn't, it wouldn't have, built up that fence or that strong bond, or it wouldn't have developed certain characters in me as a woman today.
You wouldn't have been that strong, independent woman that you are today.
Right.
Because what doesn't kill, as corny and cliche as it sounds,
Wow.
what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Makes you stronger.
And you know what I'm saying? All of us went through our own, tragedies and issues as well in life. And I kind of see it the way you see it. It's all about how you handled that situation.
Exactly.
And are you willing to move forward? As long as you're
And
willing
become a better person. And then share what I found is my message. When I share my stories with other women, they're like, man, you went through all that and you're a businesswoman, you're a single mom, you own real estate, you travel, you speak in front of groups. Yes, because I always wanted more.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to instill in other women.
Yeah, man. You live and you learn, and then there's a will, there's a way.
Yes. Yes.
But I like how you said that. My mess is my message. That's my. I love when you say stuff like that. Like,
maybe I had a mess.
Yeah, so I believe that's in most cases, a lot of successful people, they've gone through like trials and tribulations in life, or they came from the bottom.
Absolutely.
Because I think it's just that like that sacrifice and knowing that you came from nothing that gives you like that ambition to like succeed. You know what I mean? As opposed to when you have it all, you become an ingrate and you don't appreciate stuff. So
then to want to turn around and give back. If you're a person that's truly feeling and standing in your own power, when you realize that, you turn around and say, wait a minute, it's time for me to help my brother and my sister up. So it's important at that point in life, when you master something, no matter what it is, I tell people, you don't have to be the greatest at something, but if you master it and become successful in it, and I'm the type of person, I hop from things to things. People say, you do 90 different things. Not really. I'm the type of person, once I master it, there's no more of a challenge there for me. So then I begin to teach it. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys.
It does.
That makes a lot of sense to me, because I kind of feel like I think like that too. Once I figure out something that I'm good at, I'm already ready to move on to the next thing. Like, all right, what's next? What's next?
Conquer.
Yes.
We're conquerors.
Yes.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah, no, and that's the plan. Like I've always said this on the show. The important thing is for us, knowing where we came from, and knowing the struggles that we went to. Whenever we make it out the hood per se, right? Or poverty or whatever it is, it's our job to teach the current generations and the future generations how to make it out as well. And that's one of the things that sometimes a lot of people who are successful forget about where they came from. But in your case, you didn't. And I'm glad that you're teaching people the ropes. That's very important. So congratulations to you. The wholesale diva in the house. You already know what it is. That town, you know what I'm saying? OG right there. But
that's right, OG.
So let's talk about what resources helped you along the way to change your life and become this real estate tycoon that you are.
Oh my God, Nelly, that is such a phenomenal question. I'm so glad you asked me that, because a lot of times I'm on interviews and people just skip over that part, because we didn't wake up like this. Beyonce did, but I didn't, okay? I would love to share with your audience. I don't care what it is that you're attempting to do in life or trying to do, get a mentor or a coach. When I took on a mentor or a coach at an early age, when I was still a young girl in the project, there was a lady in our neighborhood that didn't live in the project. She lived like across town in a nice home. Now, by today's standards, it would be like a little $80,000, $90,000 house. But back then, to us, she was the rich lady. And this lady gave fashion shows and beauty pageants and, trade shows. She did all this. And I craved, after going to one of her events, I don't remember, I think my school took us or something like that. I was like, she's going to be my coach. I didn't know the word mentor back then. Mm-hmm. I went to this lady and said, I will clean your modeling school. She had a modeling school in her basement. I said, I will clean your modeling school in exchange for you teaching me how to be a model. Because to me, that was going to be my way out of the hood.
To be a
and
model.
This lady never taught me and never had me clean a darn thing. She took me under her wing and started teaching me business, stocks, bonds, investments, how to buy real estate. And I'm talking about, I'm almost 70. So imagine, I'm this little 13, 14-year-old girl. And this lady took me to seminars and workshops when I didn't even know, I lived in a project. We weren't exposed to nothing like that. All we knew was fighting, cursing, whooping, hollering, having babies, and selling drugs. This lady changed my mindset. I would say the first thing anybody needs to do if they're serious about being in business, no matter what the business is, find someone who's where you're at, where you want to be, and get on that person's coattail and pay your mentors. A lot of people think mentors and coaches are free. Coaches are free in high school, okay? When you get out in the real world and you want somebody to take you to another level, you pay for that person's expertise and wisdom. I want people to not discount that. You pay people for their expertise and wisdom.
Because they've been there and they've done that.
Walked in those mud puddles. So you don't have to. Our job is to reach one, teach one, but drag you up over that anthill or get you past big hole in the ground.
No, absolutely. I
So
agree.
respect your mentors. I think a mentor and a coach is paramount.
Yeah, when I first came, you know, as you all know, Ms. Gaines is my mentor currently. And the way I came across her is I think I was, you know, since COVID, I got laid off from my I had a really good paying job in Manhattan. And I was like ready to do something else anyway. I was ready to get into the real estate because, you know, I had a little background of it. And I kind of didn't know where to start. I knew there was so many different aspects of real estate. There's wholesaling, there's flipping, there's buy and hold. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so I think while I was doing some research on YouTube, and that's when I came into one of your thousands of videos, like this lady has thousands of videos. And I just started listening and you were just dropping gems left and right and dropping all this knowledge. And I'm just like, then you started mentioning how important it is to have a mentor. And I'm like, you know what? Everybody is selling all these courses about how to get into real estate and stuff and spending thousands of dollars, $10,000, $20,000, when what you really, really need is a mentor, someone to keep you on your toes, somebody to hold you accountable. And I never really thought about that. I thought I just needed to take a course and then I could start flipping houses and stuff like that. But that's not really.
And some people can, you know, they go into it with that. But then when they run into a problem they can't solve, who you gonna call?
Yeah.
You don't have a
Now, the Ghostbusters.
Look, who you gonna call when you're in the middle of a contract and you don't know what to do? Okay.
Anything can happen in real estate. Something go wrong, and it can, and it has, and it may, you know. And you got to have somebody like Ms. Gaines, and I could hit her up in the middle of a deal, and I have, and I'm just like, Ms. Gaines, this is what's going on, and I don't know what to do next, you know, and she'll tell me exactly what to do next, and you know, it's like that's all that you need in order to become successful in real estate.
Yeah, Ms. Gaines, what made you want to get into real estate in the first place? Like, why was it? Because you knew you had an inside scoop on generational wealth, or you just wanted to be successful, period, as a business?
Another juicy question.
We got juicy questions all day.
Juicy questions, Nelly. I like that. Okay.
Good.
They call me Mr. Juicy Fruit.
Mr. Juicy Fruit. All right, Juicy Fruit. I endorse you based on the questions you're asking. So everybody asked me that question, actually. And I'm like, my circumstances were so crazy. I was a military wife living in a big, beautiful home in the suburbs near San Francisco. 2 kids, the dog, you know, white picket fence, dream life, 3 or 4 cars in the driveway. And my husband just came home one night and said, I want a divorce.
What?
And this was my face. And I was like, okay. And he went on upstairs and took a shower and went to bed.
What the hell was
wow.
Look, where they do that at?
We have in the first time something like that.
We have in the hood. Where they do that at? Long story short, about 3 or 4 days later, I'm having my pity party because I'm thinking in my mind, I'm a person that's very strategic. I think, okay, I don't want my children to go backwards and have to go back where I grew up. So I've got to have a game plan. And I literally sat down with pencil and paper. And this is why I believe in manifestation. I'm not on here to teach religion, but it works for me. And I wrote down on paper how I wanted my life to be, what I wanted to happen to the penny, to the T, and all of it manifested. But I was watching TV and I saw this commercial. You know how you watch TV and you see a commercial like for 1,000 times? You too can be a real estate investor.
Yep, I started watching those too.
I had never stopped and looked at it. I would just wait till it went off or fast forward or whatever.
Those infomercials they give them on like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. But look, the guy said, if you're going through a trauma in your life, like divorce, look, he didn't even have to go past, I did a Beyonce. I was like, he had me at divorce, because that's what was going on with me. And that's one of the keys that I teach my students. If you can't touch a pain point on someone, or you can't bring up something that will elicit reaction from them, it's going to be hard to, most 90 times out of 10, to negotiate the deal. Because the sellers we deal with, they're going through problems, and you've got to be able to bring that problem up to the surface and then solve it. But so much on that. So long story short, they were having a seminar that weekend. So I rented a car, got a babysitter, drove to the seminar, crowded up like this in a room with about 350 people. I couldn't hardly breathe.
Oh my God.
But they taught HGTV type investing, they taught landlording, they taught everything, the whole spectrum, and everybody left there confused, including me. But one thing, one of the speakers, they had like 9 different speakers. One of the speakers, then this is just the craziest thing, one of the speakers came up and said, wholesaling is a technique that people don't know a lot about, but it's been around for millennials. And the way he explained it, he said, you know, when you go to Walmart to buy a sweater, someone sold that sweater to Walmart for $5, but they might have bought it for 50 cents over in Taiwan or something with some slave labor. That middle person is you in any real estate transaction. So you don't have to be a real estate agent or a high-powered broker or any of that. You just have to have street skills. To me, this is my personal opinion, street skills and negotiating skills. And so I negotiated with them to put half down because I didn't have the whole amount to pay for the 3-day seminar they were going to give.
Mm-hmm.
I put half down. And I said, in 30 days, I'm going to have a deal because if it works the way that guy explained it, I'm from the street. I totally get that. I got, and I'm not going to say why, but I got what he was talking about. Okay. I totally understood. And so I went out and closed my first deal in less than 30 days with my mentor's help. I had a mentor for the amount I paid because I went on and took the like $5,000 package. My mentor helped me through my first deal, and I walked out of closing after splitting the deal with my mentor, guys. Listen to me, $10,999. And the people gave me the dog, the car, the house, the furniture, the dishes, the toilet tissue that was still on the roll in the bathroom.
They just left everything.
They left everything.
Oh
And
my.
walked away. Those
And
are
I closed that deal and I did not have a license, and it proved to me that what they say works. And so from there, I've never really looked back. It's so comfortable now that when I choose to do a deal, it's not an aggressive thing with me. My focus is on teaching, educating, and empower, like you said, Nelly, people under me that are coming up now and for their generations under them. That's what it's about for me. It's not about the hustle and the grind every day of trying to do a deal. I'm not in that mode. I'm too old for that. And plus, I've mastered it.
Yeah. You just whenever you want to feel like making 10
When I want a good deal, a good deal.
Yeah, whenever you want to make like, oh, I feel like making $10,000.
But I think it's really important, that people are educated, because what I'm finding is 98% of people out here, not let alone the people who own houses and have no clue about their mortgages or their, situations, how their houses can get taken for back taxes. The population is uneducated on the real estate world. And individuals that are jumping in now because of COVID are uneducated because they don't have mentors. They don't have someone that says, okay, let me hold your hand. The first thing you need to know is ABC before you even jump out there and go talking to a seller. How are you going to talk to a seller, for example? You've never owned a home in your life. You don't even know mortgage terminology. You don't know about taxes, PITI. You don't know about ARM, adjustable rate mortgages. You don't know about repairs. You don't know any of that. You lived in an apartment all your life. That person needs to be coached and trained because you got to give them a certain brain set to even talk to a seller. Does that make sense, Nelly?
Yeah, no, for sure. No, you got to know the lingo. You got to know exactly, what the in and outs are. You're right.
Then they got to learn the language of how to talk to lawyers and title companies. This is a business. This is not a hobby. And the average person is not educated in any capacity in law. They might have watched Judge Judy or something like that. But what's a Hispanic judge? I love her too.
The video I sent you, Nelson, what was her name?
Because her hair kind of like yours. But that's the only law they know. This is a business. We deal with people's assets. We deal with lawyers and title companies. We deal with closing attorneys, and we deal with contracts. So it's not a game. And I tell people all the time, I don't want somebody out there representing my name or my brand saying I trained them and I didn't train them correctly. If they train under me and stay under me and listen to me, I will educate them so they won't run into problems. But a lot of people don't listen. You'd be surprised how many people come in this business, pay a mentor or coach. It's not just me. I've met people that pay $50,000 to coaches. And watch this. I never did a deal. Well, boo, did you listen to what your coach told you? And they will not ever tell you the truth.
Yeah, they're definitely denying.
Because I'm not bashing any other coaches because we all basically teach the same thing.
Yeah.
But did that person listen? Did that person take action? did that person execute the way they were supposed to based on what their mentor told them to do? Successful people that have a mentor coach are because they listen to that mentor coach. Successful football teams, track teams, the ones that win are the ones who what? Their coach is the one yelling. You see them on the field yelling.
Yeah.
Right?
Fight harder.
They bring home the trophies. They bring home the trophies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
you need a coach.
Yeah.
Education and doing your research and learning about things before you jump in is definitely essential, right? So let's say someone like looking to buy a home or get into the business of real estate. What's the step-by-step process, like the step-by-step process for them to acquire some type of knowledge and then jump into owning a home? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And one of the things that I want to share with you, Nelly, I would love to be able to offer maybe a one-day free webinar to your audience if you would like to sponsor something like that. Yeah. I would do a free one-day webinar, and then we could talk about the particulars afterwards. But I would love to do that for your audience, maybe an hour webinar and then maybe 20 minutes or something of Q&A with you and Christine moderating and you asking me questions. Because people have a lot of questions. Like I said, they're not educated. So it's almost like you got to go back to the baby stage and say, okay, here's what happens when you buy a house in America. You follow me? So I think that we need to do a webinar. So I just want to throw that out there and give you something to think about.
For sure. I mean, we could do it live. We could do it live on YouTube so that people can comment.
Yeah, I'll do a live Q&A. Just hammer for an hour at me. Ask me any question they could think of.
Yeah, I think that's very important because I know Nelson and I and, a whole bunch of us has done a lot of podcasts, and we had several people on the show that are interested in, real estate investing. Okay. Have lots of questions.
And when they find out it's a whole nother world, they're going to be shocked. When I say shocked, let me give you some examples. So you asked me, what's the step-by-step process? I don't want to give away the baby with the bathwater, Nelly. We want to wait and have
a little sip of it.
I give you a little bit of sugar in that coffee. Okay?
Sugar.
All right. A little bit of sugar and cream in that coffee. I don't know, not much. So let me just go and put a few drops in there. So in the normal world, and I'll say normal world for lack of a better term, one of the things I have my students do is watch The Matrix.
Oh my God, that's my favorite. One of my favorite movies.
One of your favorite movies?
You do that, yep.
And I'm not talking about like the special effects and the martial arts and all that. Just the message they sent throughout.
The message.
And you know what? I always don't ask Christine. You guys have to take a test before you sign up with me. And on the test, they have to watch The Matrix and write an entire paragraph on how it relates to real estate.
Mm.
I never knew that. Wow. I never thought about that. I never knew that. I was like in my head, I was like, why is she making me watch The Matrix? And I already.
She thought you had a fetish for Keanu Reeves.
That movie several times already, in the past or whatever. So when I watched it with like a new mindset, after speaking with Ms. Gaines a few times before she gave me this assignment, I saw The Matrix. And this time I felt like I really saw The Matrix. Like, even though it was probably the 10th time, but this time I actually was able to understand the message.
Clicked.
Yeah.
And it clicked. Yep.
You thought Ms. Gaines had like a little
a magic wand.
She was like a Lauren Fishburne fan or something. That's what you thought?
I mean, why is she making us watch this dumb movie?
I was trusting the process. I was like, there has to be a reason for this. I'm just gonna do it.
I don't have you guys do anything without a reason behind it.
Of course, yeah.
There's a lot of messages in that movie. A lot of subliminal and a lot of straight messages on it that are very important about life in general.
Oh, okay. One of the things that I pride myself on without bragging about it is I'm not only trying to educate and empower individuals in the real estate game, I want people to begin to think. We haven't been thinking, we've been asleep. And I don't want to get deep here, but we've just been walking through life like zombies. Accepting, taking, going with the flow. Not questioning anything, not asking any questions, signing documents, something happened, whatever they tell us, we go along with it. We have not been a research society. And when you research, you learn things. Is that true, Christine?
Absolutely.
I push them extremely hard to research and vet people. Vet people, research the situation, check it out. Because guess what I found out, Nelly? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Hit me. Hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot.
Listen, nobody is who they say they are.
Yes.
Let me repeat that. Nobody is who they say they are.
Okay.
I could meet you and we could have the best interaction and talk about doing business together and say, hey, well, let's meet in a couple of weeks. Let's get together and write up an agreement between us. You know, we're going to do this. You're going to handle that. You go home and talk to your friends, your pastor, your mama, your nana, your girlfriend. And when I get ready for us to proceed, I'm all hyped thinking we about to crush this. We about to open up dinner at the round table. We about to start a podcast. And you say, you know what? I was thinking about it. This is the little man on your shoulder, which is the family friend, baby mama, cousin, auntie, realtor, whatever. You know, that stuff is a scam. You shouldn't do that.
The
naysayer. And then we miss our opportunities.
Yep.
That makes sense?
Why is that? Wait, just to cut in a little bit. Why is it that it's always the people that love you the most, your family, your friends, that always are the first ones to tell you that's not going to work? They don't see your vision. But then once it gets afloat, right, that everything is going smoothly, they're the ones that be like, oh, you done changed up. You don't remember nobody, blah, blah, blah.
You think you all that?
Hood.
Yeah,
you got the little people in the hood, all that.
Let me tell you guys something. I'm going to make a statement here, and I want you to ring a bell, do a drum beat, something.
I got you.
Y'all ready?
Ready. You want me to start with the bell first, or?
Nah, do it afterwards. Listen, I want everybody out there to look at my lips and listen. You cannot help a poor person by being one of them. Ooh. Drum roll.
Ta-da, ta-da. There you go.
Bam.
Yeah, man. You can take the horse to drink water, but it's up to the horse if he wants to drink water or not, right? What is it?
Let me tell you something. I was in a store.
I said it wrong, but you get what I mean.
There was a young man in the store, and he was sweating and wiping sweat. You could tell he was just like, I hate this job. It was just all over his face and his body language. And I took my cart and I went around down a few hours and came back, and something said to me, just go talk to him. So I just went and I started a conversation with him. Now, mind you, it would have been too big of a project for his mind. He was a young brother, maybe 17, 18. It would have been too big of a project to introduce him to the real estate game. However, I talked to him about a few things that he could do, to earn some extra income. And one of them I said, and you do this right, you could probably get $5,000. Now, I said very casually, this boy made all kind of faces, stepped back 10 steps from me and said, I ain't never had that kind of money in my life. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. And I was like, okay. But are you interested in some of the things we talked about? Oh, no. I'll just stay here and work my $5.75 an hour job.
Oh, man.
I took my card and handed it on to the cash register with my $300 worth of stuff.
See, I can't comprehend that sometimes. And even today,
that's the mentality.
I can't comprehend that, because people see like how good a person is doing. Like, oh, Christina, I see you driving that new car. Or, oh, Christina, I see you with that new house and living your life and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I could show you, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I could show you how I came up. Right.
So it's like, why are you asking me, oh, Christina, how you do it and all this stuff? But then I'm willing to show you the way, and I'm willing to show you, my mentor, and this is what we did. This is the process. But then they're just like, nah, it's okay. Like,
nah, that's okay. That's too much work.
It's too much work. It's too much work. I never understand that. How you expect all these famous people, celebrities, and
they woke up like that. People think they woke up
like they woke up like that. Like, no, they worked
years.
They did what other people were not willing to do.
Yeah, you have to be that thorn that kind of comes out of everything, right? But the thing is, I think this society has like this entitlement privilege mentality, and they don't use it to their advantage, right? Because
And the microwave
things.
center, everything is instant. They want it instant.
Yeah.
It's not instant.
Gratification.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to gain stuff. You can't expect to that you deserve everything that life has to give without you putting into sweat into it. It doesn't work like that.
So let me get back to answering, because I know your audience is probably saying, she didn't tell us how to get a house.
We gonna get to that.
Let me do a role play. So Nelly, come back on screen. Where you at? I can't want to see your handsome face.
You want to see your
handsome face.
Papi Chulo. Where
Papi
Papi
Chulo.
Chulo at?
Come on back on screen.
Well, basically, I wanted to ask you one question. Sorry to cut in. Just to remind the viewers, Ms. Gaines, do you need to have a real estate license to start real estate?
To start real estate investing? Absolutely not.
No, you do not. You do not. And that is still, even today, the first question that people ask me, Christina, did you get your real estate license? No, because you don't.
But she's working on a $1.5 million deal. And that's all we're going to say about that.
She's raking in the dough soon. But you're right. A lot of people have that question because a lot of people think that you need a license in order.
Absolutely. Let me share a few steps. Like I'll take you step 1 through 5. So Nelly, are you a homeowner?
Not yet, but very soon, hopefully.
Very soon. Okay, Christine is a
homeowner. Duena hook me up.
Let me do a little role play with Christine. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, Christine has a $100,000 house, and her mom passed away, and she no longer wants to keep the house. Her and her brother both living their lives in different cities. They don't want to move back in mama's house where they grew up. Too many memories and stuff. They don't want to go back and fix it up and list it with a realtor because they're going to have to fix it up, repair. They don't want to do anything to it.
Too much money.
Some kind of way. Yeah. Just as is. And mom hasn't fixed or did anything in 30 years.
Oh, man.
So here's where someone like me would come in. They would look for me and find me and reach out and leave me a message, and I would call them back. Now, here's how my conversation would go. Ring.
Hello?
Hi, is this Christine Rodriguez?
Yes, it is.
My name is Jay, and I work for a group of investors that are going to be purchasing some property in your area in the next 5 to 10 business days. And I would love to get some information about your house. I understand you inherited a house. Now, Nelly, this is public information. That's how I know it.
Okay.
Before your viewers say, how did you know that?
I already heard that.
The public administrator's office gives out information on that, or this is something you have to go to the
Nothing is a secret now, Nelly.
Okay.
Nothing. I can find out everything about you in 2 seconds on this computer.
Oh man, you better research me.
Find out where you live.
All right. So I understand you inherited your mom's house. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So what do you guys plan on doing? What's your plan with the property?
Well, right now I live in California and my brother lives in another state and the house is in Florida. So I don't really want to deal with the house. It needs a lot of repairs. There's a leak on the roof and my mother hasn't fixed the roof in like 20, 30 years. So, there's lots of problems. It needs to be updated. The kitchen is outdated. I think the AC is about to go. I know a new AC needs
Sounds like that would be a great burden on you and your brother to have to go all the way back to Florida and start working on that house to get it ready to put it on the market with a realtor, right?
Yeah, it's going to be.
You don't want to have to do all that.
The general contractor already told us it's going to be like $50,000 just to
wow.
With the AC, the swimming pool, there's a leak in the swimming pool. The roof needs to be redone. The bathroom needs to be redone. The kitchen.
So let me ask you this, Ms. Rodriguez. I don't mean to cut you off, but I know I respect your time. And you told me earlier that you had something to do. So what were you looking to get in terms of if you were to sell your mother's house?
Well, currently the house is free and clear, so I don't owe anything on it. And basically, I just want to be able to get some money off of it so that I could be able to just walk away and continue living in my house that I have in another state.
Do you and your brother have a number in mind? Have you talked about it?
We according to the houses in the neighborhood, all the houses in this neighborhood are going for about 100,000.
Okay. So what have you and your brother talked about in terms of getting for the property?
Well, because the neighborhood with the houses is going around that same price, but I know that the house needs a lot of work. Maybe we'll go like 80,000.
Okay. And it's probably something that you and your brother have already talked about that each of you wants to do with the $80,000, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is that we get on the house, we'll split it 50-50.
Okay. Is there something specific that you want to do when you get the proceeds from the house? Have you thought about something you want to do?
I do want to throw a boat party in Miami.
Okay. And about how much? That sounds exciting. I would love to be involved in that. So about how much is that going to cost?
About $10,000.
About $10,000? Okay. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, Nelly, I've already got her down off her $40,000, $10,000. You follow me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Wow. So yeah. So we got a question from our audience here. He's actually a real estate investor himself. He's recently bought his first property.
Congratulations.
Yes, he's a comedian. He was on the show 2 weeks ago. He says, how can someone just starting out find an appropriate and qualified mentor?
I don't want us to forget to go back and close that deal with her. What's his name? The
Christian Santiago.
Christian Santiago.
Christensen. One of the things that I would say, number one, don't hire a mentor that doesn't have a mentor.
Oh, okay.
Chirp that.
Chirp it.
Number two, have a consultation with that mentor and see if you all's personalities mesh. I tell people all the time, I'm that hardcore mother type. I'm not going to let you get by with no BS. You're not going to, when I give you homework, well, I didn't do it, the dog died and the cat ran away. I don't want to hear that. So I'm not the mentor for everybody because I'm that mama you probably hated. So see if your personality, but some people like me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Christine, we hung out anyway. See if your personalities match. Some people need a softer spoken person. I have some people all the time, they're like, well, you're not gonna talk to me like that. Well, I'm not the mentor for you then. Because when I ask you in this tone of voice why you haven't did something I instructed you to do, and you get an attitude as an adult, we're not a good match for each other. So I think hire a mentor that has a mentor.
People don't like to hear the truth. That's what it is.
No, they don't want to hear the truth. Hire a mentor that has a mentor. Make sure your personalities match and be coachable. OMG, be coachable.
The grasshopper has to be a student before he becomes a teacher.
Yes.
You can't come in the door where I don't understand why I got to do it that way, coach. Because I walked in the mud first.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, so why are you
that.
acquiring my services if I'm a coach for it?
Hey, what did you pay me for? I'm not your friend. I'm not here to kumbaya. Now, if that happens down the line, cool in the game. But I'm here to get you to a certain point mentally, physically, and financially.
Yeah.
I'm not here to kumbaya. This is not a kumbaya. I can do a girl's kumbaya if y'all want a girl's kumbaya. But those are the three things I would suggest to him.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to closing that deal.
All right. So now I technically got her down to accepting 30,000 because I know she wants this party, and the party is only 10. So really, I mean, she only needs about 15 grand. Maybe 5 for luxuries and 10 to throw the party, because she had no other ambition for selling this house.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to ask you, Christine. So what does your brother say that he's going to do? I know if it was me and my brother, we would have sat down and had a conversation about this and probably said, man, when we sell mama's house, I'm going to do so-and-so, so-and-so. What did he tell you he was going to do?
My brother, he just, he's really happy at his job, and he really doesn't want to, do anything else or open up a business or anything like that. He's really happy for his job, and he's happy where he's at with his home and everything. So he kind of doesn't want anything to change.
Does he have children?
Nope.
No children? Okay, because I was going to say maybe he want to take his kids to Disneyland or something like that. So he probably just wants the money to either invest or put it aside for a rainy day.
Yeah, probably put in stocks or something
Okay.
like that.
Okay. So I don't know that the investors I work with can come close to that 80,000. Is there another number that you and your brother have talked about? I'm sure you had a bottom line, kind of like when you have a garage sale, and you might say, well, mother's house is not a garage sale. I respect that and I understand that, but I'm just using that as an analogy. Have you guys talked about another number that you would be open and receptive to?
Yeah, I think the lowest number that we'll probably be able to accept would be $50,000.
Okay. I don't know, and I can't commit because, again, I work for a group of investors, but I will take that offer that you suggested of $50,000, which would be 25 for your brother and 25 for you. And I will see what, they give me as far as an answer, and then I'll have someone call you in a couple of days. Are you available at 11 in the morning or 6 in the evening?
6 in the evening.
Okay. I'm going to put you down for that, and someone will call you about 15 minutes before. So let me just recap, Ms. Rodriguez. You live in one state, your brother lives in another. The house is in Florida, it's sitting there vacant. It's full of furniture, correct?
Yes.
And you guys are just going to leave all the furniture because you don't need to worry about moving it or trying to sell it all that.
No, we don't want the furniture. It's kind of old and I already got my own nicer furniture, so I'm just going to leave it.
Are there any vehicles on the property?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Are you going to leave the car, right?
We're going to leave the car. We don't want the car.
All right, you have a clear title to it and everything?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So let me just be clear. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, ranch style house. You're open to accepting 50 if we can work that out and negotiate it. You're leaving all the furniture and everything, and you're also leaving a vehicle with clear title. Is that correct? Okay. Is there anything else that I need to know about the property? And as is, I don't want you to go and touch anything, don't work on anything. Don't worry about any of that.
Okay. No, that's it. It's just sitting there waiting.
I'll definitely give you a call in 2 days at 6 p.m. with my senior partner on the line, and they'll have a few more questions. Okay? Did you have any questions before we end the call?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Nelly, where'd you go?
I'm here, Mama. I just
Ding ding, baby.
So now I got $100,000 house down to what? 50 cents on the dollar?
50,000.
And remember, it's free and clear. So she left me 50 grand in equity. Are you with me, Nelly?
Yes.
All right. What I'm going to do is call you up, Nelly, because you're one of my investors from HGTV and you like to rehab and knock out walls and all that stuff. I'm going to say, Nelly, I got a great deal for you. I'll let you have it for $75,900. It's worth $100,000.
I'm going to grab it. I'm going to hell. Yeah, let me get that.
So what I'm going to do is remember, I did a contract with the daughter and son. Now I'm going to do a separate contract with you, get a non-refundable deposit from you, which the title company will hold in escrow. We never touch any money until the deal closes. So the title company will hold a deposit in escrow. We'll have a contract with you. You might have your contractors go out and take a look at the property or whatever it is. And you say, yeah, it's good. I want to close on it. So let's say 3 weeks from then, closing is set. They've ran clear title on the house. Everything came back good and everything. In the meantime, I went over and probably had 4 garage sales.
To sell all the furniture that I left.
Furniture and the car.
I have it.
And the car.
And the car. So the house is cleared out now and everything, and it's broom swept clean. So the title company emails all of us and says, okay, Mr. Nelly and Miss Christina and Jay, closing is July 27th. 11 o'clock in the morning, she comes in, signs off the title, the deed, and leaves the keys. If there were any doors on the property. I'm just kidding. But we do buy houses with no doors.
And dead bodies.
Yep.
Dead bodies. What the hell?
So she would get the agreed price of the $50,000 in 2 separate checks for her and her brother. And she would walk out a happy woman. I come in and pick up my check for the difference between 50 and 75.9, which is what? 20 something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I come in and pick up my check, or if I'm lazy and I want to sit at home, I'll have them wire transfer.
There you go.
You don't
Wow.
even have to leave your house.
And then you come in later on or the next day or whenever you're available because you're a busy man. And you pick up the deed and the keys to the house. There you go. Everybody's happy. It was a win-win. Did I have a license?
No.
No.
Did I go to a bank?
No.
Did I use my credit?
No.
Nope.
Did I use my cash?
No.
Exactly. No banks, no credit, no cash, no realtors.
There you go. So yeah, so you're basically the person who connects the a buyer, an investor, right?
Connected.
The person who's trying to sell the house, but not wanting to deal with like real estate agents and all that.
But watch this.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna let you meet her. You're never gonna meet her.
Yeah.
Because why would you need me?
Exactly. But you know, being an investor, I mean, to avoid all those extra charges and all those extra costs, you know, that the banks put in a mortgage and all that, I'd rather just go with somebody who's a wholesale diva as yourself.
Exactly. And buy the house cash.
Buy a cash. It's better.
Buy it cash. And when he fixes it up, he probably could put it back on the market for $119,900 or $121,900 or something like that once he rehabs it. Now, there's also a second market that we sell to, and we're going to get into that because Christine is my advocate for our 1,000 Hispanic families a la casa.
Yay.
Right? Yeah.
So everyone for
no. 1,000 Hispanic families. So vete la casa.
Mil familias.
Oh, okay.
We just shortened it to mil familias.
Mil familias.
So basically, Ms. Gaines, so far I have my own real estate situation going on. It's called ChristineBuysHouses.com. And basically, if you're looking to sell your house, or if you're, you know, like the situations that we discuss, people who are going through a divorce or probate, which is basically if the owner passed away and the house was, you know, passed down to the children or to the next of kin. So any situation like that, you go onto the website and put in your information. We'll basically evaluate your home and see how we can help you in regards to the home. With that being said, what we also do is we help out buyers, you know, people who do not typically qualify for your typical mortgage, you know, whether it's their credit or whether it's their income or something like that, because not everyone can afford to get a house the traditional way, right, Ms. Gaines, which is usually through the bank and stuff like that. So we can also work in something what we call seller finance or owner finance. You know, there's different terms to it. And basically what that means is that you are making a deal directly with the owner of the house, you know, based on terms that we set, and basically in terms that, you know, that everyone can agree on. And it's basically buying the house as cash without having to get the bank involved, without having to get your credit pulled or your income done. So there's so many ways. And like what Ms. Gaines taught me is anything in life is negotiable. So, you know, if you're, you know, if you have your heart set on a particular house or something like that and you think you can't afford it, I mean, you don't know. Anything is.
And Nelly, I would love to take that example I did with her and do an owner finance with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I do that for you real quick?
Sure.
So
sure.
let's just say I have the house under contract with her for the $50,000. Let's use the same numbers.
Okay.
Okay. I come to you and you have a wife and 3 children, but you don't have credit, you don't have a bank account, but you work your own business and you have money coming in every day. I could qualify you and close on the house, put you in the house. Let's just say you're able to bring $60,000 to the closing table. So she gets her 50 for her and her brother, right?
Okay.
I would get 10 to put in my bank account. Follow me so far?
Yes.
I would sell the house to you though for $110,000. So I would carry a note on the balance. You didn't have to have your credit. You didn't have to go to a bank. You didn't have to go to a mortgage lender. You didn't have to go to a realtor. I will carry the note because understand, it's paid off now. It's free and clear. It's in my name.
Oh, I see.
It's in my name now because you paid it off for me.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Let me say that again. I'm not saying to be facetious. I want you to run this in your head, run the scenario. You actually paid it off for me. So everything I get from you every month, I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but I'm saying instead of being a landlord, everything I get from you every month is a mortgage payment. I'm selling you the house. I'm not renting it to you. So now you can live the American dream without having to go through the banks, the mortgage companies, the stocks, your baby's first drip of blood. You don't have to deal with all that because you came to me as the owner and I negotiated a deal with you. And those are just two forms of real estate investing. There's hundreds.
Yes, so there's still a way to get it done, even if you don't have all the money. You know what I mean? There's still a way to get it done.
It's a way to get it done. And people have not been educated on this.
And a lot of
Do
people
you think the big boys are going to tell you this? The big boys are not going to tell you this.
They're going to tell you no. They're just going to reject your application.
Right. And put it on a file cabinet down underneath their desk.
Wow. I had no idea that you can do that. You can still, you know, like with a wholesale person as yourself, you can still make it happen even if you don't have all the money.
Absolutely.
I had no idea. Absolutely. That's great.
Absolutely. And if you come to me and say, I don't have 60, I can't come up with 60, I can come up with 40, I'm going to go back and renegotiate my deal with her.
I see.
To get her to take 30 and hold a note on the other 20.
Yep. Anything is possible.
And then I would go on still and put you in the house. And from the payments you're making to me, now it would still be in her name for a minute. But from the payments you're making to me, I would go in and pay her and her brother off.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's great. Because these financial institutions, man, they're definitely not out to help the little guys like us, you know?
The little guy, and the little guy is not educated enough to understand the right wording to use or the right terminology. And the little guy only thinks if it's not on HGTV and a realtor didn't say it, it's not Bible. And there have been creative real estate deals since the beginning of time. If you go back and watch some old Westerns, I can't even think of the name of some of them, but like Tombstone or something like that, people would write up something on a piece of paper at a kitchen table and the person would give them 4 horses for maybe his shotguns.
Yeah, yeah.
These people, there was no title company.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen it. I was
think about it. This has been going on since the beginning of time, but it just became refined and it was never taught to us and us. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and you know they don't teach this in school at all.
No,
like I don't
because
understand.
then you'd be an entrepreneur. Wait, you'd be an entrepreneur. You wouldn't get out of school and go work for somebody.
That's the whole thing. They want you to stay in, like, you know, in the system, being you know, basically yeah, in the workforce, working a 9 to 5, you know, just being an average Joe. They don't want you to become successful. They don't want you to be an entrepreneur because, you know, it doesn't benefit them. They want to keep you in that cycle, right?
In that cycle. One of the books that I wrote is each of us has 15 gifts inside of us. And it's probably way more than that. But one day I sat down with a piece of paper and just kind of looked inside myself and said, what have I done that I think I'm good at? You know, and I just started making this list and I came up with 15 things. So I think that we don't go inside and find out what our gifts are and figure out how to monetize those gifts. Or we don't develop those gifts so that we can monetize them and go back and share or teach someone. We just walk around with all these gifts. And I don't know if you're familiar with the speaker, Les Brown, but he says, if you want to know where all the dreams are, go to the cemetery. People died with their dreams.
Yeah.
They never executed their dreams. So I think that even if it's not real estate, if real estate is just a vehicle to get you to open up your beauty salon or your barbecue joint or your nightclub, understand that real estate is a way to get chunks of money.
Yes.
It's not, that's the difference in it and working hours and hours and hours. You can do a real estate deal and get a chunk of money.
Yeah.
So now you can go do something.
And it's a plentiful asset to have too, to build generational wealth. I think that's very important because I think for a long time, people of brown and black, communities were shunned from this information. You know what I mean? They couldn't buy houses in certain places. You know what I mean? So they did this on purpose to us for a long time. But now, that things are a little bit different. We can embark, and become property owners, but we have to know the proper steps. And I'm glad
we have to be available for our community. That's why I launched with Christine the 1,000 Hispanic Families Initiative, because our goal is to put 1,000 Hispanic families in homes by the end of 2021. Now, we might not achieve it, but we're going to damn sure jump through some strides and try to get there.
Yeah.
So We want to educate families, and we know that not only are there Hispanic families, there are other nationalities of families, but she's Hispanic and she's in Florida. And so I launched this initiative with her. Our objective is to get these families into home ownership in America, because you can't be deported or sent away because now you're paying taxes.
Yes.
Oh, that's another thing too. Is very important.
Booyah!
Yeah, I had a broker on the show once, and he's my broker actually. Known this guy for 15 years, and that's one of the things that he said, that they don't care as long as you pay your taxes. So you're right about that for sure.
So all we got to do is put them in homes, right?
Homes now,
put them in homes, and they won't mess with you.
Yeah, I mean, you're being a productive member of society. You're paying your taxes. You're working. You own a home.
You got pride in your home.
They say, right?
Yeah, you keep your house up. You're not one of those people that don't cut your grass or whatever. People take pride. I don't say everybody, but most people take pride in home ownership.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to touch up on. I know that this I don't know if it exists in every state, but I know that if you don't cut your lawn, you can lose your house too, right? Is that true?
Let me tell you something, Nelly.
Yes.
People don't understand it. Christina, I know she's smiling. You can lose your house because you didn't cut the grass, because you got paper piled in the driveway, because you got an old raggedy car parked in the driveway with 4 flats. Your windows are busted out because the city and your neighbor, well, first of all, your neighbor's going to complain. And so then the city is going to come out, and the city has jurisdiction to board up windows on a vacant house. They have jurisdiction to clean up and cut the grass, but there's a fine or a lien levied against the house at that point. And I can't tell you how many houses, Nelly, we buy from people that have liens on their houses from not cutting the grass, broken windows, doors that there were no doors on the house, dead bodies, dead cats.
Oh my God. People cut your grass, man. Hire one of those little kids that wanted $20 an hour. They'll do it for you.
And here's another one. When someone's house catches on fire, think about this. Okay, you and Christina married. You got 3 kids. The house catches on fire, the kitchen burns, the whole kitchen area, half the living room, and maybe your master bedroom is all smoked up and damaged. The insurance company is going to pay you a check if you have insurance on your house. Let me put that disclaimer. The insurance company is going to, let's just say your house is worth $100,000. They're going to cut you a check for $100,000. Let's just use round numbers. Christine is going to say to you, Nelly, you're crazy if you think we're going to take this $100,000 and go over there and rebuild that house. I want a brand new house on a brand new piece of land. As a matter of fact, way in the suburbs. I don't want to think about my kids' pictures that got burned up, my grandma's heirlooms. It's too many bad memories there. Plus, the neighbors are saying, clean that eyesore up. People don't understand that they still owe taxes on that land. Watch this. I'm not even finished. People don't understand that the city can fine you after so many days because they know how long it takes usually to get an insurance check. And after that, they're going to start levying fines because it's an eyesore and someone could get murdered in there or animals could get trapped in there. The floors are not stable. So they're going to start levying liens against the house now. So I'll contact a person like that and say, 6 months ago, your house at 123 Main Street burned down. Have you thought about what are you going to do? You're just going to keep paying the taxes? And here's what they always say. What taxes?
They don't even know.
Which means they haven't paid them.
There's no more house that burned down.
Right. It burned down. It ain't my house anymore. Yeah. Lack of education. Okay. So once I educate them, usually for $2,000 or $3,000.
For someone in their own home, they don't even know that about their own.
They don't understand.
So
I can get
city and the state is sticking them for property taxes without even having a house. That's insane. But the property's there still, but not the house. The house burned.
Right.
You have the land technically.
And if you owed a mortgage balance from that 100,000, let's just say you owe 50, they're going to send 50 to Bank of America first, so you're only going to clear 50. Mm-hmm. And again, your wife might say, "Well, we need to just go get an apartment. We got 50 grand. I don't want another house." But the moral of the story is we do tons of deals with people in situations like that. So we work in a situation where I'm a nurse by profession. I was a nurse 18 years. I retired. When people came in the emergency room, they didn't care about what was wrong with them or what I was trying to ask them or what we were trying to find out. They wanted the pain to go away.
Yeah.
The sellers we deal with want the pain to go away, Nelly.
Basically.
So when we take the pain away, it becomes that man's trash, but you're a treasure because now it's a house to you. You can go in and rehab it the way your wife wants it. You can, make the arches. You can put in the gazebo for the quinceañera in the backyard, whatever it is you want to do. You're living the American dream.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does make
sense. So that's the world we live in, which is outside the matrix.
Yeah.
So let's do this. The matrix is realtors and agents and banks and credit and mortgages and this, and we live over here in this just peaceful floating world like this.
I see that analogy there. I see it.
I love it.
5G, baby.
I'm glad you was able to give some insight on those different things that we discussed, because I guarantee you, like you said earlier, like 90% of the people don't even know this, or even more. Maybe the percentage is even higher. People who are already in the game with their own homes probably don't know this at all. So
I had a young lady. This was the craziest story. I had a young lady come to one of my seminars. Now, mind you, most of the people that come to my seminars, they're coming specifically to learn wholesaling. This lady said, I own 10 houses. I went to a seminar and they told me to buy 10 houses with my credit. So she went out and bought 10 houses, like 10, 9, 10.
10 houses.
She said, none of my tenants have paid rent in the last 2 years.
Oh, no.
Look, I said, first of all, why are you at my seminar?
You be taking care of that problem.
You came in the wrong door.
You came in the wrong time, girl. You should have came before you bought the 10 houses.
You should have got to me anyway. So
The game's getting hot. It's like, anyway.
I said, let me have my assistant refund your money. Because I don't want to take your money, because what I teach cannot help you now. You already have had a bad hair day. She said, what is that? And I told her this. You guys know the analogy, right?
Yeah.
It was an African lady. It was an African lady. It didn't catch. Anyway, so when I explained it to her, she was like, oh, but I did not know about you then. Okay. She said, so can you help me now? I said, I certainly can. Because see, I knew exactly what to do. I met with her a couple of weeks later at like a Starbucks, and I said, I have plan A and I have plan B. Plan A is you can keep on doing what you're doing. It's called, what is it called? Kind of slipped my mind. Insanity. You can keep on doing what you're doing and expect different results. That's A. Option B is I can get rid of your tenants that are not paying, start eviction practices. She said, oh, I was afraid to do that. I'm a single woman. I know you were afraid, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So I went in as a consultant. Got rid of the ones who refused to pay rent, and the ones who wanted to stay, I went to them and petitioned them for her to sell the houses to them on 30-year mortgages. So I drew up the paperwork and everything, charged her $5,000 per property. And I remember she had 10 properties. But my expertise was what she paid me for.
I see.
So I went to each one of the 5. We had to evict 5, but I went to the first 5, and we sold those houses to them on owner finance on 30-year mortgages. We became the bank. And when I say we, you guys watch Shark Tank? My negotiation was $5,000 per property plus a percentage of the ones that I negotiate and get under 30-year mortgages. Ooh. Shark Tank. Shark Tank.
This game's making that money.
The wholesale diva.
Negotiator. It's all about negotiating.
Yeah. So what is your biggest failure thus far, and what have you learned from it? Or if there has been any failures when starting this business?
One of my major failures was somebody sent me a lead. I have a lot of people around the United States that work for me as what we call bird dogs or property locators. And a gentleman reached out to me and he said, I have a lead on 80 properties.
On 80?
Now, I had 80. I had been in the game a while, so I felt I can handle it. This young lady had 80 properties, and she was willing to do an exclusive contract with me based on this guy's referral for the 80 properties to allow me to sell them. And she gave me a year to sell them. her parents were elderly and they just wanted to liquidate their portfolio. And she had her own business, her own life, her husband and kids. She didn't want to get into real estate. She never wanted to. Her parents built that empire so they could educate, put her through college and all that. So she never had any interest in it.
Right.
I think that I took on too large of a project.
Yeah, 80.
Because that was, when I tell you I had hair falling out, I couldn't sleep at night. My skin began to break out. It was just so stressful moving those properties because nobody wanted the whole package. So I had to do, you know, what I call tittle and tattle. Okay, I want these 3 off the list. Okay, I want those 4. So all these different closings and transactions. It was just, I think that if I did something like that again, I probably would bring in a partner and let the partner handle it because I'm a negotiator. My skills are getting on the phone negotiating or at a boardroom table closing a deal, negotiating to close a deal. That's my strength. That's my Shira. That's my power. My power is not in handling 80 different transactions on 80 properties. It was just nerve-wracking. You know, some people had to get hard money lending, so they would be like, well, we need to send a plumber out week 1 and a roofer week 2, and I had to coordinate all that for them to get to the properties with the owner, the little old lady and her husband and the daughter. It was just, that was my biggest failure to me. I should have either sourced that out or walked away from it.
Wow, but I mean, you
I made money, but it wasn't worth my health.
Yeah, it was very stressful, I imagine.
Oh my God, you can't even imagine.
But yeah, man, but yeah, it's very important. You know, I think it's the learning curve, right? You got to go through it sometimes, and you know, in your case, you had to go through that. But today, you're the wholesale diva. You got it going on.
And it's straight smooth in my mind. Like I say, I've mastered it, so it's not something I have to think long and hard about. But my challenge, I think, is breaking it down to the average bear. And I'm not saying that again in derogatory terminology, but sometimes you have to explain something to somebody 3 or 4 times before it clicks. And I'm like that about certain things. You know, I'll ask and I'll say, well, what about if and what about what if, you know? So sometimes, like I had to watch The Matrix 5 times. I'm not gonna lie. and then it dawned on me, and I said, I'm going to incorporate this in my coaching program. It's going to be a requirement because if you can understand and see, not only, I think, Christine, you can vouch for this. When you watched it, not only did you relate it to real estate, you related it to life. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So if you're walking around in the Matrix, you know, with the agents and all that, that was symbolism of you walking around sleep. You just get up, go to work every day, get off work, go party at the bar, come home, go to sleep, get up, go to work. You're on that hamster wheel. Mm-hmm. But if you're outside the Matrix, it might not be so pretty, but if you use your mind, you can survive.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So a lot of people didn't even see that. Well, I watched that movie. It was about him doing karate and stuff, right? Yeah.
No,
can't coach you.
You know, another assignment that you gave me, Ms. Gaines, that I really appreciate is watching The Secret.
Mm-hmm.
She told me.
I wanted to let you talk about that.
Yeah, when she told me to watch The Secret, this was my first time ever watching this. But I think the other students, they had already watched it, but this was my first time watching it. And basically, The Secret is all about putting something that you really want in life, you know, your dreams, and putting it out there in the universe. And basically, once you believe it and you know, like, oh, I want this $5 million mansion, you know, I want this $5 million mansion, and I'm just going to keep thinking about it. Matter of fact, in my mind, I already own it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what it's all about. So you just keep thinking about it and thinking about it and working towards it and working towards it. And then before you know it, you got a $5 million mansion.
And it'll materialize. Yeah. And a lot of people want those things. They want and they live those dreams. They don't know how to manifest or materialize them. Mm-hmm. And then other people like myself, I'm at a point in my life, people say, well, you're not balling in the big Mercedes and the big mansion and all that. At some point in my life, I looked in the mirror and that stuff wasn't important to me. What was important to me is, what is my mission now? Okay, universe, I did all these things in my life and experienced all these things. What am I here for? And it wasn't for a big flashy house and the Lamborghini and the Rolls Royce and, you know, the name brand stuff, everything I got on a different person's name, my shoes, my dress, my wig, everything. It wasn't about that. It was about how many people can I educate and empower before I leave here. And it was that simple. The sentence just came to me just crystal clear. Like if you were standing next to me and you said, duh, your job is to empower and educate as many people as possible. And I was like, oh, okay. That made total sense because I love to see people's faces light up when I explain to them, you know, you can buy a house in America without a realtor, banks, credit, or cash. And they're like,
that's the same face I had. That's the same face I had. I was like, what? I'm over here trying to build my credit and all that other extra stuff. And, you know,
nothing to do with it.
And you don't need any of that. You really don't.
Yeah.
There's a big majority of people out there right now. None of them got their house. A big majority. I think I saw in the statistics somewhere, 70% are not owned by banks. They're owned by, you know, special financing or seller financing. And that blew my mind. I was like, wow. So how are all these other banks making all that?
30 or 40% of the homes out there are free and clear, which means they have no mortgage on them. Mm-hmm. So those people are sitting on 100% equity, but they don't understand it. They don't
understand.
They don't even know what equity is. You know?
What is equity for those listening and watching that don't understand that terminology, or being free and clear, like you said, just sitting on equity?
So I'll give an example. When you go to a dealership and you buy a car and they put you on 5 years payments, you don't own the car until you finish making the payments. Then you get the title, right? With a house, when you finish making the payments, you get a deed. If that made sense to everybody, just keep it simple.
Yep, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yours.
Just keep it simple.
So another question I want to ask you, because a lot of people are confused with what liabilities and assets are. Can we give them an explanation?
Wow.
That's a good
question.
I'm
just hitting you with the best questions I got, girl.
That's a good question.
They're good questions. Okay. Christine, you want to hit one of them? Which one you want, liability or assets?
I'll start. I mean, I could do either one. I know a liability is basically, for instance, something that is not working for you. For instance, if I go to the store and I get myself a Gucci bag, you know, it's $2,000.
Right.
That's it. The Gucci bag, it cost me $2,000 out of my pocket, and it's not making me money. However, an asset is if I buy that Gucci bag and say I rent it or something, you know, and I let other people rock with my Gucci bag, my $2,000 Gucci bag. However, but I'm getting income from it. Like, okay, you're going to pay me $300 today if you want my Gucci bag, and make sure you bring it back tomorrow. Whatever the situation is, you know?
And just on that note, anybody out there that's laughing at what she's saying, oh, they have websites where you can really rent somebody's Gucci bag. So don't sleep on it.
Now you can rent anything in the sharing world with Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, now Turo. You could rent almost anything. So the difference, again, between a liability and an asset is buying something just to have it sit in your closet or when you go out on the weekend. But you can make that same Gucci bag, that same $2,000 Gucci bag into an asset because you're making that Gucci bag work for you now. Now you're making your money back and possibly plus more with profit. So
Nelly, did I teach her well?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Doing a fine job.
I let her handle that because I trained her. Yeah. I let her handle that.
I mean, the longer you keep something that you bought that's not bringing in any income, it gets depreciated every time. So you gotta start making that bread right away.
Let me share something with you that's gonna blow you away, Nelly.
Okay.
And
don't blow me up.
I keep referring to you. I keep referring to you because Christine always knows there's a lot of this stuff because she's coaching with me. Right now, people are running to buy mobile homes on land. So we're looking into buying land and buying mobile homes so we can jump in that market. A lot of people don't want the big, pretty brick home with the long mortgage. They got $20,000 saved up from COVID because they didn't pay their mortgage or their rent. And they want to just buy a mobile home sitting on a piece of land in Alabama, and that's it, and live their life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden.
Or an RV.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was looking. There was this one night, I went to like a rabbit hole, looking at houses, trying to get an idea of what I wanted. And I said, you know what? Let me look into mobile homes. And I noticed that a lot of them, you have a whole bunch of beautiful ones out there. They don't cost as much,
Right.
and you can still, invest in it and do what you got to do with it as well. So I mean,
Now, what I will share with your listeners, there's two types of ways to buy mobile homes. If you buy in a park, you went right back to being what I consider an employee or a liability.
okay,
You're paying somebody rent every month for your mobile home to sit in their park. So they're the landlord. And if you don't pay your rent, guess what? They can put a lien against your mobile home. Booyah!
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is when you buy it and you buy the mobile home and the land, once you pay for it, all you pay are your taxes every year and your utilities, of course.
Yeah.
So it's got to do with, do you want your independence or do you still want to be a tenant renting? Because it's no different from living in an apartment or renting a house when you move in a mobile home park. You're renting the land under you. You're paying for the sewage, the water, the space, the little clubhouse. You're paying for the amenities. And the minute you don't pay it, they put a lien on you. I bought 4 or 5 mobile homes because the park had a lien on the mobile home. And the people didn't know, well, they can do that to me. Yes, sir, they can.
what? Wait, so the liens were already on it and they had no idea?
They knew they hadn't paid their lot rent for 4 or 5 months.
God, Jesus.
Look, people are in denial. They know.
Yeah, they be knowing.
You know you haven't paid me rent for 6 or 8 months, and the sheriff shows up at your door to evict you and your family. It's not like you didn't know. I sent you notices. You knew. The court sent you notices.
Yeah.
But people are in denial because they're not educated. They don't understand. Find out what the lien is and work out something where you can pay it off. Well, in the first place, what happened while you got, and here's people will say, Ms. Gaines, when you buy the house, can I stay in it? Absolutely not. I need you out ASAP.
Yeah.
I'm not hardcore, but hey, the reason why you're behind is a reason. You know, they say accident for a reason. You're in foreclosure for a reason. There's something terribly wrong.
People don't understand the severity of the situation that they're in.
Exactly.
Like, they're in denial, but
And they'll go up to the last day. And then have nerve to call Christine and say, Christine, can you help me? No, it's foreclosures in 24 hours.
Oh man.
Uneducated.
Where can the
mentor.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Duena, I'm sorry.
No, I said that's why you need a mentor.
That's you need a mentor. But someone looking to acquire your services for either being their mentor or for being somebody who brokers a deal for them. Where can they acquire your services at?
Well, the first thing they can do is reach out to Christine. She's one of my students. And since she brought me on your podcast, they can reach out to her because she's going to screen them before they even call me. You don't get to just call me and hang out with me. No, I'm kidding. Seriously, though, she's going to screen you.
I'm going to screen you.
If you guys are screening and we're a good match, then you do a follow-up consultation with me. They can, Christine, you can give them your Google number.
Yeah, so you could hit me up on my my work cell phone number, which is 407-801-1255. Again, that's 407-801-1255. Or you could just DM me on Instagram at la Duena_official, and just let me know that you're interested in getting mentorship in regards to real estate. And basically, I'm just gonna ask you some questions or make a telephone call with you, and we're going to talk about what it is that you're interested. Why are you looking for a mentor? What qualifications do you have? Because you don't necessarily have to have experience in real estate. Like for instance, I have experience working in the hotel industry as a front desk manager. So one of my main skills is I'm very good at talking with people. Like if you want to throw me out in the middle of the street and just talk to all these random people, like I will go and do that. But not everybody has that skill, or that
right.
Nobody has that. But that doesn't mean you can't do real estate. We just got to find out exactly where in real estate you fit. So you never know until.
And what your goal is. A lot of people come in this business and say, well, I want to be a landlord. I want 10 houses. Well, I'm not the mentor for you because I don't teach landlord. Actually, I'm against landlord. I'll teach you how to be the bank, but I'm not going to teach you to go fix toilets and fix air conditioners and all that. Forget that. Why do you have to do that when you could just sell them the house on a 30-year mortgage? Do you call Wells Fargo when your toilet breaks down?
No.
No. Right. Be Wells Fargo then.
So that's what we do. We
are
are
Home Depot and take a course on
right. Exactly. You better go fix that. If you're a landlord, though, you're obligated by law.
But so the same process if somebody wanted to contact you La Duena for an investor that's trying to purchase property and they don't want to go through the banks, they can also reach La Duena, and then La Duena get a contact with Ms. Gaines, the wholesale diva.
Yes.
You'll get a property in no time as long as you got that moolah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people out here, Nelly, have cash and they don't know what to do with it. A lot of people have money in their 401k, their IRA. They got money sitting in savings accounts. We can give them 8 to 12% interest on their money. So let me do my commercial. Hi, if you're out there and you're only owning 0.4% on your money in a bank, a CD, or some dumb fund you left it in when you left your job, give us a call and we'll get you 8 to 12% return on your money. This is Jay Gaines, the wholesale diva. That was my commercial.
The wholesale diva, Gaines. You know yourself live on, you know what I'm saying, the Duena Roundtable. You show you what time it is when it comes to the housing market. But one last question I was going to ask you for me was that let's say someone who, for instance, do you recommend people buying foreclosure houses or no?
If you can negotiate with the seller.
Okay. All right.
Because if you wait until it goes to auction, you got to have cash. And remember, I teach people how to buy without cash.
I see. Okay.
So if I can catch the seller while he's in foreclosure before it goes to the auction, yes. If not, I don't touch it.
Yes, because a lot of like colleagues of mine and friends, they have the misconception that is best to do that. And I'm like, well, there has to be another way for you to get to that, to the owner before it goes.
Well, wait a minute. That means your friends have some moolah.
I'm gonna send them your way. I'm sending them to you guys.
You might want to introduce me to them. Have a round table for real.
Yeah. We will most definitely. But yeah, a lot of people just, like you said, the lack of knowledge,
Yeah.
Not knowing the system.
People perish for lack of understanding, and it has nothing to do with race.
And one of the most
people, period.
One of the most amazing things that I come across while being a student for Ms. Gaines is when she came to my town, she came to Orlando, and you basically pay $5,000 to get Ms. Gaines to come to basically be your personal mentor. So just one-on-one. So you pay Ms. Gaines $5,000, she'll come to your town, wherever you are in the United States. And basically all of the things that we did together just opened my mind even more. We went to the courthouse together. She taught me how to look for tax liens, how to get lists for divorces. Usually people who are going through divorce, if they own a house.
Tell them about the probates. I was blown away in Florida. Whoa.
Yeah. So the probates is where someone passes away and the house is in process to the next of kin, which is usually the children or their brother or sister or something like that. So in the courthouse, there's a department that deals with specifically probates, and it's public information. So you go to the courthouse. We found every courthouse is different, but in our courthouse, they have a book of all of the recent probates that are in process. So basically we collect that information. It explains the address of the house, the name of the homeowner, who is it that passed away, who is the next of kin, and all of that. And basically what we try to do is to what we call skip trace. So we go on to our website, which Ms. Gaines also taught me how to do, how to look up their information and how to get their phone number, their email, how to contact them.
Next of kin.
Next of kin, everybody, find their brothers, their sisters, their babies.
Cousins, aunts.
Like everybody comes up on our search. It's crazy.
Don't tell them the name.
Yeah. So we call them and we try to negotiate with them on the phone. And we were able to get deals that way also. Basically before, like we were talking about before, sometimes they don't even want to deal with the house. My mother didn't fix the house for 30 years or whatever the situation is, and they live in another state and they just don't have time to come deal with the house. So that's a very favorable type of situation amongst very many other situations.
But I spent 5 days with her in the field. I mean, we talked to people, we went to title companies, talked to attorneys, everything. So that's one of my VIP programs.
Yeah, she taught me about, etiquette. Like I thought I knew how to speak to a lawyer. Like, oh yeah, I know how to talk to a lawyer. Like I do it all the time. No, I was wrong. Miss Gaines put it on me. And she was like, no, Christina, these are the type of questions that you ask. This is how you get their attention. This is how you properly, through email or, the proper way to communicate to lawyers. So awesome. She taught me that.
So there you go. You have it from the Wholesale Divas boot camp. Duena. She graduated from the boot camp. A prime example of, somebody who acquired the services. She learned from it. She's making the proper moves now. So this is not a game. It's not a gimmick. It's not a scam. This Miss Gaines is the real deal. You know what I mean? You can look her up on Instagram. Or you can follow her through La Duena.
Google. I'm on Google. I'm on YouTube.
What is your website again? It's the Wholesale.
I don't have a website. I took it down. But if they just go to Google and type in The Wholesale Diva, all one word, everything that I do on the internet comes up. And I'm not a big social media person. I have teams that do all that stuff for me.
We do have the jgainesbuyhouses.com though, right? You still have that?
That's a website that we have up. If people have a house that they need to get rid of, they can go on there. But my main contact information is on Facebook under J Gaines, Jay Gaines, Gaines. But anyone watching this show or as a result of the show, talk to Christine first. Because again, she brought me on the show and I would love her to take that pressure off of me. Guys, I get 100 phone calls a day, I'm telling you. She does too, but mine are all about coaching and stuff, and it's kind of overwhelming. So she's helping me out with that.
I get 100 phone calls a day, people looking to buy houses.
She's got so many people. She's got over $750,000 now of people with that much money that want to buy houses.
750,000.
We're looking for the inventory. So anybody out there that has a house they need to get rid of, hey, you need to call Christine.
Yeah, man. Great, man. But Miss Gaines, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for giving your insight and your knowledge and the information that you shared with us to our viewers and listeners. I definitely appreciate you for that. I admire you for all the work that you've done, and knowing everything you came from to who you are today. I admire that, and continue to have much success. And thank you for mentoring La Duena.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
For coming on to the show, Miss Gaines. Again, I want to let everyone know, if you're interested in purchasing a house or selling a house, to visit my website, christinebuyshouses.com, and put in your information. There's a little quick questionnaire in there, and I'm going to contact you back and help you out in your situation.
Absolutely.
Dinner at the Round Table podcast catches every Sunday and Monday at 8 p.m. You guys have a good night. Thank you for everything. Ms. Gaines, it's a pleasure to meet you. We'll see you again soon. We're going to set up that webinar soon. We'll let the public know, our listeners and our viewers.
Absolutely. Let's do that as soon as possible.
A 1-hour webinar, one time only, exclusive. You ain't going to get
anything. Right. Related to real estate. I don't want anybody saying, well, where do you get your nails done?
Real estate only. If you guys are
real estate only.
Life, Miss Gaines has changed my life, and I've only been working with her for a few months. And Miss Gaines has changed my life even more than just real estate, just how to become a better entrepreneur, smarter, wiser entrepreneur, and how to, basically this is a world of sharks. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta
learn how to swim with the sharks.
You gotta learn how to swim with the sharks and be a beast sometimes. And Miss Gaines will definitely put that in you.
You gotta know how to swerve and swim fast.
I tell people, what is? I used to be a fashion model, and I'm like, do you know what fashion modeling and martial arts have to do with real estate? And they're like, duh. Well, you gotta pivot on a dime.
And discipline too. That's another thing.
Yes, discipline.
Oh man, Ms. Gaines, you've been a whole bunch of fun.
Thank you.
You know, I met you today, but you know, I got mad love for you. Just your personality, your charisma. You're a great person. Thank you for sharing the knowledge. Thank you for looking after Christine, and thank you for sharing your thoughts here. And we'll see you in the webinar. You already know the Not the Round Table podcast. We out of here.